GB short validated. CS disqualified.
We have posted the US wholesale inventory September 2025 report on the feed for those interested.
Order canceled.
All right, good morning. You guys hear me in YouTube land?
Private NQ1 validated. NQ1 validated.
Let me know if you guys can hear me. It sounds like it's pretty faint too, so I gotta figure out what the deal is here. Anybody hear me? YouTube, please tell me. Thank you, Van Wilton. Appreciate it. All right, I'll be back here in a minute.
Risk disclosure statement. There is a risk of loss in stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, derivatives, options, forex, and cryptocurrencies. This risk can be substantial, and therefore investors should carefully consider their financial suitability prior to trading. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. The software, strategies, chat rooms, websites, and any associated websites are digital venues for educational purposes only and should not be construed as an express or implied promise or guarantee that you will profit or that losses may be limited in any manner whatsoever. Users of the information accept sole responsibility for the outcomes of their deployment and host Apple Trader, LLC, and any associated companies, agents, management, owners, and customers harmless without preservation. Please trade responsibly. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, Rule 4.41. Hypothetical and simulated trading performance results have certain inherent limitations, some of which are described herein. No representation is being made that any account holder is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those shown. In fact, there are frequently sharp differences between hypothetical or simulated performance results and the actual results subsequently achieved by any particular trading program. One of the limitations of hypothetical performance results is that they are generally prepared with the benefit of hindsight. In addition, hypothetical trading does not involve financial risk, and no hypothetical trading record can completely account for the impact of financial risk in actual trading. For example, the ability to withstand losses or adhere to a particular trading program in spite of trading losses are material points which can also adversely affect actual trading results. Because these trades have not actually been executed, the hypothetical results may have under or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. There are numerous other factors related to the markets in general or to the implementation of any specific trading program which cannot be fully accounted for in simulated trading or in the preparation of hypothetical performance results and all of which can adversely affect actual trading results.
All right, good morning. Markets are going crazy here, so bear with me. Actually, just put an A+ reversion here, and I got out of it because the entry actually moved above the. I had it there, but volatility was picking up here, so. Actually, hold on. This isn't even right on top of it. This was a double whammy down here, or a step rose setup. Stop runs with sell A's.
25 contracts.
Ah, crap. I didn't want to do that. Hold on 1 second, guys. Lots of activity here. Everything's freezing up on me. All right, so this is the usual bungee jump. I was just waiting for this to happen. I was going to go short off of this event in ES, but it's holding as of right now. I did go short much earlier here, caught some nice moves and got out into these levels, and there was a number that just fired off here too, so there's activity way up here, pre-market. Look at my drawing tool.
According to a trade group,
So I'll go over these trades in a little bit, but I was short that, and then I added to it. I put out another short here on the structure stuff, fail balance breakouts. So we were waiting for these for days. Yesterday it looked like it wasn't going to happen, and it didn't happen. It actually ripped it, with Paul talking, but we were waiting for this guy to break. for days, wouldn't break, built more balance at the high volume node of that. Looked like a failed balance breakdown through that high volume node of that balance. Couldn't go. That was telling you something, and it did make the move, but then today it got back through everything. So it's kind of what we were waiting for. I think this is just getting started, just from a guess standpoint. I'm not a longer term trader, I'm a day trader, but I use my thesis, excuse me, based on structure to trade bigger in the direction of the trade. So I welcome this bungee jump. Hopefully it can get back to this zone so I can fire on it. But there's not a lot of structure here compared to what was here. You just imagine you were longer term long in here. What are you feeling right now? You're feeling pain. And if you're still holding on, you're hoping it comes back so you can get out. So that is below all that now. So I'm expecting there's not a lot to hold this up structure wise until you get basically down to this stuff. This balance area down here, and it's not even really a balance area.
Prior ES short retested.
Hold on one second. I just want to see what's going on here. All right, I'm not supposed to take this reversion, but I'm probably going to here if I can get up there. So this is basically disqualified barely. So we have different trades that I'm taking, right? I'm taking position trades and I'm taking reversion trades. Reversion trades are more like a scalp type trade where we're just playing back to these volume events. This is actually breaking my rules here because I'd already... All right, I won't take that. I don't want to be on webinars and be doing wrong things, and you guys are, I'm trying to teach you guys the right trades, and this is actually not a trade. So the reversion trades are, and there's already been, like, here's a perfect example of this. The one, of course, I missed because it was an instant winner, and I always miss the instant winners for some reason. I was focusing on NASDAQ because it was going crazy, but perfect example, sell ice, market moved up to the 1 ATR entry. It actually bounced off an important gamma level, method Q gamma level, and I take these coming back and then out of the zone. So I missed that one, but that's an example of the reversion trade that I'm talking about. This one I really want to take because, I would normally take it, especially into a prior event. So if it's into a prior event, it's the same concept we just talked about with the balance areas, right? These are traders that are caught. Whoever bought in here is not feeling very good. Again, you never know what they're doing. Are they getting out of shorts? Are they covering options? It doesn't matter. Just, in your mind, just act like this entity is initiating a position, right? Because there are other buyers in here, so on and so forth. And when it comes back, they want out. So anyway, the reversion trades already work great on their own right? It's a huge edge, and they're even better when they're in prior events. That's why we call it the A+ reversion. I did take one here earlier. You could see it there off a put support, hoping it would come back in here and then move lower, and a new event fired out, and I just hopped out of the trade. But normally I would take this, but it already did the reversion this way. So that's my rule. Those are my rules. Like, even though I think this is going to come back, this is where traders get in trouble, when they think something's going to happen. This is not my rules. That's why I was going to put that on, and I caught myself and didn't do it. So even if it works, it's not my rules, right? If this was an algo firing this trade, it wouldn't take this trade. So that's, I got to be okay if it comes back. There's many millions of setups in my future. If this comes back, comes back. But the point is, it already did the reversion here, and I was going to take this, but it was into the number, and it was very, very fast. I was waiting for it to bounce off that, and I would have taken it, but it was like boom, boom, and it was back to the zone. So the reversion's already happened. And then as far as taking position trades off of this, it's already tagged the ATR. So this is how I determine whether these events, these stop iceberg events, which are the most powerful thing I've ever seen in trading, futures trading, and it's what my entire philosophy is based off of, my methodology, I should say. If I use the current ATR, which right now is the current volatility, meaning it's rotating about 7.5, 7.75 points every 5 minutes. Very important to know. The driver of any market is volume and volatility, right? I watch this type of volume because it's the most important. These are iceberg events where these traders, or the bigger money, is hiding their orders until it trades into the price. They don't put it in the order book, because if they put it in the order book, these algos will run it away from them. It's called front running, right? So if someone came in here, so this iceberg here at the time was 700, right? So we'll look at this order book, right? It's like 50 lots up, maybe 100 here and there. So if someone comes in and puts 700, these algos know that person wants to buy, very likely, and like they front run them. So then they jump in front of them and they buy in front of them. This person's like, oh crap, I need to get these 700 off, and they have to chase it. And then the algos front run, and then they put their offers in, and they get filled, and then it comes back. And this person had to pay much worse prices. That's why these firms are using iceberg orders, right? So very important. Again, this and stop runs are the most important information, in my opinion, you can look at in futures trading. So anyway, this is working out that I didn't take this. I almost broke my rules there, and I would be almost stopping out of this trade. So again, it already did the reversion here. So this is the usual. I'm actually welcoming this, and I never got short here either. That was the short entry. I was going to take the failed balance breakout position trade. So over this webinar, I'll be talking about position trades where I'm looking for bigger moves. We'll go over some of the ones I've already taken today. So I took some earlier here. You can see some of these. We'll go over these. This was last night, actually. I tried one in ES, didn't work, but those were today. And then I'm taking the reversion trades. So what I'm talking about in here, these are all my position trades where I'm looking for bigger moves. So earlier I took an IZZY and NQ. I'll go over this like I said. I took a pick, market profile composite trade. We call Profiles and Courage. Again, that's a book by JFK. So most of these are memorable names, funny names, so you remember them. And then, funny to me anyway. And then we have auto fade strategies. I actually tried one of these, and I did the same thing I did yesterday, like a moron. I'll go over this trade, but it's working. But we have these trades called sexy gexies. When we move into the gex levels, you know, the options dealers are going to be hedging, and when you get buy ice, like in this case buy ice, you can just jump in right in the middle of the zone. So I'll go over this trade. I did the same exact thing yesterday. We'll go over it. But anyway, we have auto fade strategies, and then we have reversion trade strategies. So this is the closest thing to a scalp, or the best thing to a scalp that you can take, in my opinion, because you cannot scalp anymore in these types of markets with these algos running the show, whipsawing you back and forth. So unless you can click as fast as a computer, you're not going to do very well trying to scalp off the dome, the depth of the market. So many traders continue to try to do that. One, you're not fast as a computer. Two, you're just going to churn your account to death, you know, with the commissions that you're paying, trying to get in and out, you know, without a big type of profit trade. So we'll go over most of these trades today. Hopefully it won't die down. I don't think it will. And actually, because I was getting on this webinar and then I got out, remember I said it wasn't the trade. This was a potential long. I wasn't over here to even see where we're at because it was going crazy after that number. So this was an IZZY long that I could have taken. Again, they all work that I missed and for huge amounts. So this one, you know, these are inflection zones, right? So these are the four important things of charting happen. One of the four, right? And it could be confluence, meaning multiple things, right? So I draw these zones based on tops and bottoms of balance areas, high volume nodes of balance areas called HVNs, high volume node. That's just the middle of a balance area where the most trade occurred, like the point of control on market profile. Buying and selling tails. So you see selling tail, selling tail, selling tail, and directional conviction. So there's a lot that happened up here in this zone that keeps happening, right? So you had little tail, directional conviction, directional conviction, directional conviction, selling tail, selling tail, selling tail. So that's why I draw these zones, and these are incredible areas in their own right. I still don't just take blind trades into them. I want to see a volume event that turns bearish, and that's actually what I saw here this morning when I got short. Yeah, so it was this, we'll just go over this real quick. So this was pre-market, came up here with that stop run, this guy. Let's see, this guy way up here, right?
According to TASS, Russia's Putin held a phone call.
So I got that event, and I took the short out of there. It was also a pick, a profile encourage trade. Short. It was right here. So it was a stop run into the IZZY zone and there, and I took that, both of them pre-market. There was actually, this wasn't a slug because it was higher because the event was down here, but you can see the Ludwig level held 2. We'll go over those. Those are the second most powerful thing I've ever seen in my trading. So anyway, I got short off of this and I played the price change game. If we get a position on, I'll show you guys the price change game. It's more advanced where you're getting in and out. You're scalping around your position. I posted an example on my YouTube page the other day and on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now. So you go over here so you can see how I am kind of gaming the system. I'm playing with the algos. Once I get a position on it, I scalp around my core position, and I am convinced it's the best way to make our trades. Yes, you'll have days like today where if you take a short, you do catch the 300-point move. But how often does this happen? 1 out of probably 50 days, 30 days, right? So how often does this happen? Probably every 5 minutes, right? So the point is, when I have positions on based on this price change algo, one of the it's Market Pulse from Bookmap, which is an incredible feature on top of the Stop Iceberg stuff. I can scalp around the position in and out with this price change game. So if I get a position on, we'll try to do it on the webinar. It's more advanced. Again, if you're just learning my methodology and system and you got my courses and and you're just new to my trade room or whatever, or new to watching these webinars, take the trades like they're supposed to be taken based on the rules and don't mess around with this at this point. But once you get better, you can start and you understand it and you're not freaking out every rotation. You can start to play the rotations with the algos. I don't just play them on their own, but when I have a position on, as long as there's no new event, I'll play it in and out against important areas. So again, I'll go over it if I actually do it today, if we actually get another event. So anyway, this was an ISI that I just missed. Again, this was right when I was getting on the webinar and I was looking at the reversion. I had to get out of that because that was erroneous entry. But I should have been long right there, 25,459. You can see it's already up over 100-point winner, right? So another missed trade. I've already missed like 3 of them today. That was also a pick trade. So you can see right here. So the same trades I took short, basically I could have taken long down here and I just missed them because of the mayhem. Right when I was getting on. That was that step bros. So I have 6 distinct stop iceberg setups I look for, right, in important areas. So this was a step bros. This is actually inherently should be bearish. If it doesn't turn bearish, watch out the other way, and you got that, right? So this was sell stops. That's that red. Let me get this price change off here so it's easier to see. So you had sell stops there. You had 160 pukes into sell ice. We call this the 6th wonder of the world. You'd see this 2% of the time, basically, this kind of setup. Again, that should be a bearish setup, and it wasn't. So it was telling you something. But the point is, it still was a volume event at my areas, so I should have been long there, right? So I didn't take that. I did catch the shorts on the same type of trades earlier. So, so now we're just waiting for a new event. This was close. Let's see if it's fired off. So I got 2 different book maps running. I got rhythmic data on one and bookmap data on another. This did fire off in this one. So you can see here, they're different sometimes based on the clock. I think bookmap data is more reliable, but I'm trading live off a broker on this account, so that's why I don't have the bookmap data on this main account. But you can see here, did I just X out of it on accident? What happened? There it is. That stuff is very slow today. So you can see here, the stop run just fired off. This is showing 210 stops. So, it makes a difference based on your data provider and on your computer clock. So if your clock's different from mine, because I have this set at 10 seconds, so if it'll cut off at the 10-second mark. If your clock's different, you may not get the same event, which sucks, but it is what it is. But anyway, I'm going to draw this event now because again, bookmap data is more reliable anyway. So the event was 73.25 to 64.75. So this is the Scott Zones drawing tool that I use that draws the events automatically if it's threshold. So this didn't pick up as threshold because my threshold in here is 150. You see on this rhythmic data it only picked up 143, so it didn't draw it. So, but I'm still going to draw it. You can draw it manually with this 73.25 to 64.75. And then we'll take trades off this potentially. If I can draw it. So while all this stuff's available in the Bookmap marketplace. I'll go over this. And they've got a ridiculous sale going on. Everything's like half off, including my courses. So I'll go over this as we go through the webinar. All right, so how I judge these position or these events is whether the market can push the ATR. Oh, right now the ATR is 44, meaning it's rotating 40, almost 45 points every 5 minutes, right? So if this tags that, then it's a bullish event, and I can take potential longs off of this and no shorts because it tagged the ATR. If it tags the ATR this way, then I can take shorts. That's how I judge them. Again, this is from watching these things for 8+ years and trading a million of these things. What I am not surprised is the usual bungee jump, and I guarantee you, actually, there you go. So this is another thing we'll talk about. This is the driver of most days of everything that happens in here besides the algos, whipsaw, and traders. You see this real time. This is spot gamma. Real-time options flow. You got a flow alert. This is exactly what happens most of the time. Doesn't work every time like anything in trading, but Brent from Spot Gamma talks about this all the time. This was a oversized, huge options position. Usually, whatever the blue is the options activity, right? And the dealers are on the other side of it, right? So their dealers are getting loaded up, and then you get a flow alert. When this thing levels off, the market usually turns around. Well, it this turned around, and it turned around big time. And that's what usually happens. But you can see here, this thing has been leading, the 0 date to expiration game is the newest game in town. And all they're doing is they're manipulating the market. When I say they, it is they, the bigger money, they load up the options dealers because they know that options dealers have to hedge in the futures. So it's the newest game in town. It drives me crazy. But like I say all the time, if I would have known that this game was prevalent back in my day, the options market, there wasn't even 0 date to expirations on options back then. And the options market was a mere pittance versus what it is today. But I would have done the same thing, right? I get loaded up in my futures. Back then I could put on up to 3,000 contracts, right? Well, if I don't have any bullets left, I go to the options market and load up those dealers and make them buy the futures. See what I'm saying? So it's the newest game in town. You have to know what this thing is doing, and you have to know where these options levels are. If you in my opinion, if you want to be profitable. If you don't know this stuff, you're literally just flying blind. You may be profitable somehow, some way, but you gotta, if you know this stuff and this stop iceberg information, I don't know of anything more powerful that you can be using in your futures trading. So highly recommend it. Speaking of which, let me just put this flip book in. There are sales on the Bookmap website too. So this is everything I use in my trading. Put this in the YouTube channel. If you got questions, throw them in there, please. Why is that not sending? I don't know why this is so long. It's not letting me send it. See if that works. There you go.
In 5 minutes' time, we're expecting EIA natural gas change. Forecast a draw of 166 BCF.
All right.
Prior, a draw of 12 BCF.
Why is this not letting me post? Dan, any ideas?
Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman says any manipulation
error,
of
try
Russian
again.
reserves by the EU and its accomplices will not go unanswered.
All right, there you go. You should see it in there now. All right, we'll go over everything I'm using, but anyway, what I'm saying is, for this stuff's all half price right now, and including the drawing tool and Bookmap for the entire month. I don't know what they were smoking, but it is. So take advantage of it and their data and their add-ons. So we'll go over it and my add-ons. But anyway, Spot Gamma, use Scott for 50% off your first month. And then here's your deals for Method Q. Just click on these and they'll take you to the discounts. Again, you got to know these areas, in my opinion. All right, so I can still take reversions off of this. There's not really a gamma level to take it off, so I'm not taking these aggressive reversions, meaning as the market moves into these ATRs, there's the 1 ATR, here's the 2 ATR, the 3 is up there. You can take them aggressively for the move back to the zone, or you can wait for it to bounce off something important. I wait for them to bounce off something important, especially on these webinars, because I cannot keep up with all the aggressive entries. It's too hard. I'm watching too many markets. This is daily value area high. I don't usually take it off of that. What's daily value area high? That is 1 standard deviation of VWAP, or a lot of these algos will participate. And if it's working that day, it's telling it's probably going to work. Like if it worked prior, it's probably going to work again. So you can see it kind of moved in here, moved to the edge of it, and then here. So here we are here. It's kind of the point of control at this guy too. So if I really wanted to take this reversion, I could. I'll give this a shot just because I can never pass up on a short. But this isn't really. Actually, I'll just. I'm not gonna see this. This is my weakness, right? It's like I think something's gonna happen, just like we talked about ES, and actually saved me by not doing it. This actually are not areas that I usually take the reversion, so I will wait. If it rips up to here, you got the HVL, like one of the highest gamma levels, and a spot gamma level. This is Mentor Q. This is spot gamma. I use them in tandem. They go great together. If we bounce off that, then I'll take it. I'm not going to take it here. So I'm trying to be a good boy and follow my rules. But this is where I get into trouble too, like most traders, right? I think something's going to happen. I think this has moved too far, too fast. We're in all those areas. I think this is going to come back right now. And it's like a FOMO type of thing, right? So I fight the same things you guys fight. But I'm not going to take it unless it bounces off the HVL. So, this stuff did break down. So we've been talking about this for days in my trade room. And I talked about it earlier. You had balance, you had balance, you had balance. This was yesterday. Fail balance breakdown there too. Well, I mean, this did move higher, but it wasn't anywhere near what it should have. Russell moved much higher. We'll go over that. But this came back, fail balance breakout. I did take that trade earlier too. But now we're back, right? This is a really, really important area, right? So this was the high volume node. This was where this ripped yesterday. Here we are. And this is where this directional conviction started. So I can actually adjust this zone now based on what happened today, right? So I'll take this off here. So this is, if I get another event in here, I could take an Izzy short. I can't take an Izzy short off that last event because it's bullish. So, but this is a very, very important area for bigger picture views. So you had directional conviction. This is how I draw these zones, right? So it's kind of an art. Not really. It is. You may have a different one, the top and bottom, but it's a general area. So directional conviction, right? So you got that. These tails and stuff, they were important, but once the market trades through it a bunch of times, that's done. It doesn't matter anymore. Now you move to the newest stuff. So that's how I would have this zone, and it's basically the high volume node of that, right? So this is really important. If this can take that out, then we're probably going to come to new highs. I'm betting that happens, right? So if we get a bearish event, I will probably take double size shorts here. If we get a bullish event, I'll still take bullish events. It wouldn't be an Izzy, obviously, but I'll still take bullish events because I'm a day trader. I'm not going to trade at double size unless we can get above that area. But you can see here, this is a different look in AES. That was a failed balance breakout. I was ready to take that short off that iceberg event, that bias that never proved bearish. Now this has come all the way back. So this looks very bullish now, right? Because many times when markets don't do something they should do, that should have gotten killed. It recovered. Now it got back through here. So that looks very bullish, right? So, and Nasdaq's about to look like that here shortly too. So, meaning if I get bullish events in ES, I'm probably going to take double size longs, right? So,
the expected draw of 166 BCF.
Here comes this reversion. But this is bullish. Let's see if I could take trades off of this. As far as longs, I'm not real excited about longs, but ES looks very long, or very bullish right now. I need to change this algo, guys. So this is an exponential moving average. I use this as a filter for one of my trading strategies, bar click. Let me change this to 50. So when the ATR is over 40, I change this. So let's see what this looks like. See if we're still bullish. You can see it's pulling right now. Pulling right now. So that we call this algo guy for a reason. There's the algos that trade off of this exponential moving average. One of the main things they trade off of are when the shorter term, which is the blue, crosses above the red, they all lay into it, right? So that's another reason I didn't want to take that reversion. This is one of the disqualifiers for the reversion trade, right? For the move back to the zone, even though this one's going to work, of course. You don't want to be taking when algo guy's crossing because you're fighting those algos that are playing the cross. Regardless, this is bullish, right? So the trading strategy bar click,
US natural gas futures
this
hold
guy,
losses down 5% after EIA reports bigger than expected storage draw.
So I look for volume events in important areas. Well, the edge is inherent in the volume event, so I still want to trade it. It just needs to have a certain pattern for me to trade it. So for instance, this isn't a long I can take based on my areas, the bark and lick, I can take it, but I need to see algo guy bullish. I just showed you that I need to see the pattern of ATR. That's the blue line. Retest, which it's about to do. And if it comes back out, then I take the long, right? So that's the bark lick pattern. And that means it could happen anywhere on the chart.
Long retested.
There's your retest, by the way. So one of them, I almost broke my rules there. It would have worked out. That's just called negative reinforcement, by the way. So you do something that you know is wrong and it works, you're going to do it again. If you do something, if you do something and it doesn't work, then you don't do it again, right? Or you try not to anyway. So anyway, that was an area I don't usually take them off there. It doesn't mean you didn't. You can't have an important area where you took that reversion back to the zone. And look, I mean, it's basically to the tick as usual, right? So again, that did bounce off this daily value area high. I just don't usually take them off of there unless it's confluent with something else, right? I guess it was confluent with this point of control, like I said, but so I didn't take it obviously, but I did point it out. Hold on. So it was pretty much point of control of this market profile composite. It was that market profile composite low. So I could have taken it. I just didn't take it. So whatever. Should have, would have, could have on the next trade. Plus, algo guy was crossing anyway. So I'm glad I didn't take it. It still worked, but you don't want to take an algo guy crosses. Regardless, here's the pattern. ATR. Here's your retest, basically to the tick. This comes out. I'm going to take bark lick long at 25.625. So I just got done saying that I would take double size shorts. I still will, until it can bust through basically this high volume node, right? Which is right where this broke down from. If we get above there, then I'll take double size longs. Right now, I still will take double size shorts because it's just moving back into this stuff, right? But I'm willing to take a long. I'm a day trader. I'm just not going to take it, if I get my, because I don't know what's going to happen next. I know my edge. I know what these markets do based on this stuff. So I will take the long, even though I'm still bearish right here with my guess, right? So it's going to pain me, but this is, you got to trade like an algo if you want to beat the algos and take your what you think is going to happen out of it. Not thesis wise, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be short. Well, the market doesn't care what I want. See what I'm saying? So this is the pattern. I will take that long. 620, and this moves too dynamically with the ATR, so you got to keep adjusting it. So right now, and this is the beauty of the zone drawing tool too. So why most traders fail is, one, they don't have an edge. They don't have a system behind the edge. Even if they have an edge, they don't really have, where you get in, where you get out, and they overtrade their account, meaning they trade too big. This zone drawing tool does everything for you if you're following the most important thing in trading, in my opinion. So it tells you where you get in. So where I'm getting in is, and this is all based on my 8 years of watching these things, right? That's where I get in. This is where I get out. I do that for most of my position trades. I do that for a reason, because most of the trade is algorithmic, and I don't want, if I'm going to be wrong on this, so say I put this bark lick on now, if I'm going to be wrong on it, I'm forcing the market, and it tells me I'm risking $500 a trade, or $400, actually 500 on the position trades. $500, right? So I can trade 0.2 of a big contract or 2 micros, meaning I get in there, I know exactly, if I'm wrong on the trade, I get out there, I know exactly what I'm losing. I'm losing $500, right? So that's how I trade the position trades. The reversion trades, that's this sizing. So if you take the 1 ATR, like that would have been, you could have put on 4, risking the $500, right? The 2, which is up here, that's risking the $500. So the 1 is less than an even money trade, meaning it's got to happen. Here, I'll show you these percentages, because I always get that question too. So you can see the percentages here for these ATRs.
NG disqualified.
Right here. So the 1, thank you to Jay for my monitor for posting the stuff. The 1, you're risking 1.5 to make 1. Well, that's usually not good trading in trading, right? But this trade wins, from my experience, 70% or more of the time. So you have to be, just to break even though, you got to be 60% on the trade. And you may be saying, okay, I don't want to take that one. But we'll go over why. It's fine. If you want to wait for the 2, just take 2 ATRs, that's fine. Now you're talking a better risk reward. You're risking 1 to make 1.38. You just have to be a 42% trader winner for that to be profitable or break even. The 3s, obviously even better. You're risking 1 to make almost 2 to 1 on your trade, 2R, right? And you only have to be 34% trader. Well, you may be saying, well, why don't I just take all the threes? Well, you can, but you're going to. So this is a perfect example. If you said, all right, I like the twos and the threes, way better win percentages. All right, I got my orders working here. That's what these are, these dotted lines. They're 2 and the 3 reversion, right? Great. Well, it already hit the 1 and came back. These are done. I don't take them again. I'm looking for 1 retest of the zone. So my point is, it's fine if you just wait for the 2s and 3s, but you're going to sit here many, many, many times and watch the 1 work, then it's over, right? So that's my point. If you're going to take, I don't know which one. Some days the 1s work nonstop. Some days it's the 2s. Some days it's the 3s. Whatever one you're going to commit to, you've got to take every single time, right? So if you want the edge to be an actual edge, if not, it's just random trading. All right, that's a lot of chirping. If you got questions, throw them in. No questions. Cannot see which instrument the video is in front of it. Oh, yeah, I don't know how to change that. So you guys, you should be able to tell by the pricing here. I announced it too, but yeah, the video on YouTube is over the contract. This is NQ. Just look at the prices, you'll be able to tell. All right, so this, as long as this doesn't get back and tag the ATR below, which is the blue line, I will still take long, Barclay long off of this. There's no shorts in play for me here off of this particular event because it already tagged the ATR above. Those are my rules, right? If it tags both ATRs, you don't want to be participating most time anyway because it's just telling you it's a chop fest, right? So if this comes back, I will take the long. Again, this is moving dynamically. I could put on 26, 24, 25, and I could put on 2. Then we'll play the price change game that I've been telling you guys about. If I get filled on that. Okay, that's working. I forgot to turn on tick strike today. All right, so there was buy ice here, and yes, I didn't do anything with it. I was going to go short, but per my rules, I needed it to tag that. It never tagged it. Never got short. So avoiding a loss is just as good as putting on a winner, right? Because if I lose, I've got to basically have a nice winner to get that loss back and then profit. So anyway, I didn't do that, and I was, this is one where I said I'm not taking this reversion because it already did the reversion there. I almost did it because I thought something was going to happen. How did that work out? Again, guys, my intuition used to be spot on as a scalper, right? These days, it's wrong 80% of the time. My feel is not thesis with structure, just my feel, like me thinking like here, I think this is going to come back, right? 80% of the time I'm wrong nowadays just because his algos are programmed to do opposite of what traders think. So so I skipped one in NASDAQ that I said I feel like it's going to come back. That one worked, but this one I would have been smoked on, so it's fine. Now just sit here and wait for a new event. I don't do anything. I don't care what areas we're at. Like you see all these monthly Q levels up here. Great. The odds are that this holds and comes back. If I don't get an event, I don't take, for that particular trade, I just don't take the trade. We're at other areas too. We're at an Izzy zone. Do you see me taking a short here? No, because there's no event yet. If I get an event, I could take an Izzy short. What else do we got? So you should know all this pre-market too, right? You don't want to be scrambling once the volume events start firing off to try to figure out where you are. You got to scan your market. This needs to be merged, by the way. So these are market profile composites, right? So these are daily value areas, value areas of a day, single day. And if they overlap the prior day by 50% or more, I merge them together. Well, this is multiple days, and this was yesterday too, so that's got to be merged. So let's merge this puppy. And the tops and bottoms of these are very, very, very important areas, especially the longer the time frame. The more days you have in there, the more important it is. This is today's trade. So you see it's right here. So it's very important what happens here based on market profile. Right? This thing got inside. When markets get inside, you expect the other side. Well, that's telling you something that couldn't make the other side, right? That's what you expect. And now it's trying to move out. If this can hold here, and we just looked at the structure too, this looks like it's going to rip off the page again. If this fails and gets back in here, then got something in gold, so at least we can possibly put a trade on here. stop runs. So step one, I should know exactly where we're at, and I don't, right? So this is an Izzy zone. This thing's failed multiple times. Does it mean it's going to fail right now? No. Do you see me going short right now? No. If this stop run that just fired off turns bearish, I will take an Izzy short, right? So, well, here, directional conviction, selling tail, directional conviction. Here we are again. I'm still not going short. I know this is a very powerful resistance area right now. I want the most important thing in trading, in my opinion, the stop iceberg events, to show me that this is a Dumb and Dumber event. One of my 6 distinct events. What's a Dumb and Dumber? Will someone just puke these out? Can't see with the price change here. Hold on. Right? 194 stops, 100 pukes, right? It's usually the retail traders are the ones puking. The big money doesn't puke. Doesn't mean they don't get out, but they don't use stops. They like, VWAP it out or whatever the hell they're doing, but they don't just throw orders in to get the hell out most of the time, right? So just always assume that's the retail trader. Well, this is important information that's all right. Most of the time, stop runs are not, it's not initiative buying. It's just guys getting out of positions, and it reverses more often than does not. That's called a Dumb and Dumber. Sometimes it does hold. Again, if it tags the ATR, then it's a stop and hold. More often than not, it does that. And everything in trading is more often than not with an edge, right? So actually, this was a couple in a row. Let's see if we can merge these. 135 there at 841. These are 30 seconds apart. This wasn't threshold. That's why I didn't draw. I need 150 in gold. Again, so that's the other thing too. I don't trade every blip on the stop iceberg indicator, right? If it hits threshold, meaning the amount that's a tradable amount that I'm willing to trade, then it will announce it. You can put that in your settings here, right? That's in the subchart settings. So I got stops at 10 seconds, icebergs at a minute, or it'll form over that time period. And you can enable text and voice with your threshold, right? The zone drawing tool has all the thresholds already built in, so it draws them automatically. Like this one, it didn't draw automatically because it wasn't 150. This one did. So I just got to decide whether I'm going to combine these. I mean, these were 30 seconds apart. That's quite a long time for stops. So I'll just leave this one as it is, and then I'll trade this accordingly. So you see, it's already it's trying to become a bullish event. Did I not bring in my GEX levels here today? Oh yeah, I did. All right, so as far as the area that's potential Izzy, let's see what else we got. Oh, look at that. So this is one of the best position trades out there. There's a couple things going on here, actually. So stop run into the lug. It's called the slug. So the number one trading strategy on here, not number one, but it's the first one on here, right? So again, these Ludwig levels are the second most powerful thing I've ever seen in my trading as far as the market respecting them. I still don't just take trades into them unless I get a volume event. Well, I got my volume event. If this fails, right? Meaning if this holds and doesn't tag the ATR above and moves lower, I can take a slug short, right? And if it moves higher, then that trades off the table. So that's one area. It looks like you might have a dada here too. Let's see. Yeah, that's close. I mean, yeah, it is a dada. So what's a dada? Dada is another strategy, right, that I look for. Where's that? Right here. Dumb and Dumber, aggressive opposite delta trade, dada. Dada is looking for a Dumb and Dumber stop run. We just talked about that. At extreme standard deviation of VWAP, one and a half or more of VWAP, deviation, standard deviation, with a cumulative volume delta divergence, meaning delta's going the other way. So this is, everything is intact here, right? So this basically made a new high on the day. Delta did not. So delta is just who is the aggressor. Right now, it doesn't mean there's more sellers than buyers. There's no such thing. There's got to be a buyer for the seller or it would be a vacuum. It just means they're hitting bids more than they're taking offers. They're hitting bids aggressively more than they're taking offers. Well, you could be saying, well, how's it going higher? Because as they hit the bids, someone keeps putting in more and more responsive orders, right? So think about it. So even though the sellers are being aggressive, they're hit the bid, hit the bid. Well, if I just keep putting in 100 lot, 100 lot, 100 lot, they can keep selling all they want. It's not going lower. See what I'm saying? So that's how you get diverging delta. Yes, the sellers are being aggressive right now, but somebody's absorbing it too, right? So it doesn't mean just because there's a divergence, the market's going to go down. Somebody's absorbing that activity. That's where you can get in big trouble. And I fell prey to it when I first learned this thing because I worked the first couple times. I saw that. I'm like, wow, look at that. It's making highs. Oh, they're hitting the bid. I want to go short. This thing can move another 400 points before or ticks before it responds, right? So, or it may not respond. If they keep selling it right here, yeah, this will keep going lower if they keep hitting bids. This just spins in place. What do you think is going to happen if it doesn't move lower and then it starts going higher? And then the buyers start to become aggressive. Well, all the sellers are like, oh crap, let me out. So yes, there are certain times you want to pay attention in the CBD. And it's for some reason the default on Bookmap. When you start Bookmap up, I know it's important, but it's not the end all be all. The point is there are times it's important. This is one of them. So if this fails, I've got two different fails, meaning turns bearish, meaning hits the ATR. I got something in ES. That's like a unicorn in its own right. You get an event in here once every 4 days, it feels like. So you got bias coming in here. So we could take different trades off of this as this comes in. This is moving slower. So anyway, if this fails, aka doesn't hit the ATR to prove as a bullish event, I'm going to take a slug short. There's my entry. Here's my sizing. And a dad dash short. I have no opinion on the short side up here. I mean, it looks very bullish overall. You know, broke out of this guy today. It's all fractal. This is still a balance area. It's right here. It has failed here multiple times. So if you like, hey, it failed here 5 times, I want to trade double size shorts, have at it. I'm not going to. I'm still going to take a short. I'm just not going to take double size shorts. So and it's an Izzy too, right? So we've got 3 different shorts here if this volume event fails. Izzy zone. We have the slug. We have the dada. We don't have any market profile composites. So 3 different shorts if this event fails. I'm not doing anything, especially if this tags the ATR above, then it's a bullish event, and then we take different trades off of that. So if this comes back, I will put those on 42,719. I could put on 2, risking $500.
S&P Iceberg by ES.
All right, they're still buying ES here. So now, play off this puppy. I'm going to combine these two too because it's coming in back to back here. See how it cut off? Well, it doesn't mean the iceberg cut off. It cuts off at the minute mark because I have it set for a minute. Right? You see right there how it cut off at 8:49. Well, it doesn't mean that the iceberg stopped coming in. It means I have it set for a minute. I have mine on reset mode, right? You can change it to sliding where it's all in one. There used to be a bug in it, so I went to reset. There's some guys using sliding. Watch, I'll show you sliding mode, right? I like it on reset because it's more definable. But look, if I turn this to sliding, watch what happens. Actually, that one came down a little bit. Exponential. So there's different ways you can look at this. I like the reset.
TC long validated.
Right? And I'm going to combine these two, right? Because they're basically back to back, very likely one house on top of it, one big player. So the zone drawing tool you can adjust. All right, so all those trades, potential trades, all those important short areas, did you see me go short? No, because that didn't validate short, and it just validated long. So those are all off the table, off of this event. If I get another event up here, then I can maybe do it again, but not off this. And actually, I'll take longs. And what you're looking at here, if this breaks out of here, there's a breaking away trade. This is still not through this balance area. I would make that the balance. So a little higher. I'd take through this zone. If you get a breakout of that with heavy relative volume, that's called the breaking away trade. I need a bullish event. I'm not taking it here. It's still not past there. It's close. And I keep buying this thing, by the way. Look at that. That's tick strike that I use. You do have the heavy relative volume, though, here. Get this off here. Like, look at this relative volume. This is what you want to see on breakouts. It's not quite there. I mean, if you really wanted to skirt the rules, it's almost 6 times normal. Something big is going down here. There's another stop. More pukes. Now I will take breaking away off of this. And this is a A++ reversion. We just talked about these reversions that are in the prior events. Well, you also have all this heavy relative volume that guys are getting run over on. As it comes back, they went out. So if this moves out of here, I'm going to take the breaking away trade there. So all those conditions are met. That's this guy here. So guys, again, if you get the course, if you come in my room, you're not taking all of these right away. There's no way. These are mine over 25 years, right? Pick a couple that you like, that resonate with you, and that's what you focus on. Breaking away. Break of longer term balance area that I just showed you with heavy relative volume, heavy, 200% or more. Well, this is 600%, 6 times normal. That means it has much more likelihood of ripping than moving back. That's the other thing with these, when you break out of balance, is because it's so obvious. These algos, they have algos that are built on guys that are playing the breakout that love to rip it back. When you have that's why I demand heavy relative volume, because it's much more likely to continue, right? And hold on, I don't want to, I'm going to put this reversion on. I could put on 5 here, 5 micros. I'm risking the $500. This is reversion 1. My stop's down here. That's what all these lines are. The dotted line reversion's there. The 2's outside of that, so I'm not going to take that one. Potentially. Not on A plus anyway. And this is my stop. Sorry, is it down here? No. It's right there. So here you got to make I got to make a decision. I can stop out right here. You're in at 3 gex levels. Do I want to move it down another 40 ticks? Yeah, we'll just leave it where it's at. This shouldn't come back anyway. Shouldn't. I have no idea, but it shouldn't based on what I'm seeing. All right, so I'm willing to put on that reversion long. That's just in and out, back at the zone. That's a scalp trade. And then I'm going to put on breaking away if this just moves straight up out of here. And that's that sizing right here. 4298.2. I could put on 0.2. Breaking away. 4298.2. And I'm going to trade this double size too, just because of the look, right? Because it looks extremely bullish, especially if it breaks out of that balance area. All right, that's working. Back to the ES. If you got questions, guys, fire them off. Noble House, I see your question. I'll answer that here in a second. I have a couple different strategies. There's going to be many more to come. Basically, how I'm using Hero right now is the flow alerts. We'll go over a couple different ways you can use that. All right, so this never tagged the ATR yet. It's just bouncing around here. So step 1, yeah, you have your reversion trades. So I can take these back in blacks where it tags these. There's a Mentor Q. I could take that. Actually, is that a Mentor Q? That's not a Mentor Q. Take that back. That was the reversion or the ATR line. But I could take it off of these, and I can take this as well, A plus reversion. Right, so say it came down here, I can take those, or even off of these. But more importantly, not more importantly, but for position trades, where are we at? Right, so this is a potential Izzy long. The market moved in, bounced off this Izzy. I didn't do anything up here because there was no event. Now it's back into this inflection zone, which is still valid, right? In my opinion, it was the top of this balance area. And other stuff that happened here was the bottom of this guy. Anyway, it's back here with buy ice. So if this turns into a bullish event, I'm taking that. And this already looks very, very bullish based on, as long as this doesn't fail again. Guys, trading is if-then scenarios with thesis, right? Like, I don't know what's going to happen next. I got to go by what normally happens. This looks very bullish. We already talked about this after this tried to break down today, couldn't do it. Now it's back here. So I will take this Izzy double size long if it turns bullish. There's your bullish right there if it tags the ATR. So we got Izzy long, 80.25. I normally could put on 3. I'm going to put on 6, but I'm going to only put on 3, and then I'm going to try to play the price change game so we can go over that. So I'll put on normal size, and if I get the price change back, I'll put on even more. 80.75 Izzy long.
Gains, the Dow Jones up 1%.
Again, this is risking Actually, I could put on a little more. I could put on 4 because this is risking 400 on 500 on my easy. 80.75. All right, that's working. Any other areas that I could potentially go long and or short? I don't know what I'm doing on that yet until it shows me which way it's gonna break. This top of this guy was 60. I just filled on that A+ reversion.
GC short validated. Prior GC long retested.
All right, so the thing with this now, though, the relative volume is still coming in. Remember I said how good it, and that's a disqualifier for the reversion trade. So this I could get burned on this, and I actually shouldn't be putting this on. See how the relative volume is still coming in as it comes down? So I'm okay with it because this was so ridiculous. But you see, on this move down, relative volume still coming in. That's actually a disqualifier for the reversion trade. So I'm kind of breaking rules here. Not as bad as what I was going to do before when I almost made a stupid decision. But so here's what I'm going to do. I'm willing to move this down here too. So if I'm wrong on this reversion, I mean, this is kind of silly. Not silly, but this shouldn't be coming back. It certainly shouldn't be coming back all the way here. But I'm willing to move it down below all these X levels. Right? This is subjective here, right? You may say if you put this reversion on, again, these webinars are not for you to mirror my trading. It's to learn how to do this for yourself because you're never going to make money mirroring someone's trades ever. You may say, there's a stop. I'll just stop out there. I'm electing to put it below all these X levels. In the meantime, this is a bearish event, right? So we just went over. Remember I said if there's another event, I was all willing to take a breaking away long. Well, that's canceled. Right, because it's hit the ATR. This is still an Izzy, and it's still a dad. That second stop runs in there, so I should be going short. I'm not going to short in the middle of this zone. I'll put it down below here. So I'll put it at 83. So see how I just flipped? I was ready to go long, and now I'm going short because I let the volume tell me what to do. It's the most important
Order canceled
thing in trading. So I will go dad short. I'm pretty sure this is still a dad. And this is still a slug too, and it's still a dad. So I'm going to go slug Izzy dad shorts, right? Yes, it popped above the Ludwig level, but your entry's back below it. So I'm going to take a slug. We talked about the dad trade. I'll take the dad. We just saw the Izzy trade. So I'm going to take 3 different shorts. This is why I don't enter in the prior zone if possible, right? And this is why I take the A+ reversion.
Prior NG short
Because
validated.
these traders that just got run over want out when it comes back. So that was the entry. I'm not entering there. I will move it below this zone, and I will take 3 different shorts if it comes back here. 81. 4278.1. I just talked about the last 2 digits. So dada, Izzy, slug, short if that comes back. And I could put on no bearish opinion up here, right? But I'm still going to go short because I'm a day trader. I could put on 2. I'm not going to trade double size.
Zelensky says control over Ukraine's Donbass may be put to a vote.
Oh, something's just was said somewhere. You got to be kidding me. That I can't tell you how many times I've headline. Crude's breaking, gold just broke. Somebody just said something. Look at that. I mean, I heard it. He said something Ukraine. I don't know who said it. I'm just so sick of getting headlined. It gets old after about 85 times a day. All right, so shorts are going in here.
Zelensky says there's no firm
because Zelensky's talking. I'm getting Zelensky chirped.
Russia demands Ukraine full withdrawal
81.
from the Donbass. And Zelensky says territorial issues remain under discussion.
What did I say? Izzy, Dada, and Slug. By the time I get all these in, the market's already going to be ripping. Here, you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to get out of. I'll get out of 2 of these just because there is heavy relative volume the other way, and now we have a news story. So if it pops up, I'm happy with it. And I'm also going to move these into normal now.
US to sell
This stop.
86 billion in 3 months.
Again, you're never going to predict news stories.
On December 18th.
I really don't want want to stop out into that though.
US to sell.
I'll just leave that
77
here.
billion in settlement bills on
But
December
again, the
15th
relative volume is
until
hitting
December
as well.
18th.
So if it comes back, I'll make a little bit, but I just don't like to, and I'm not in my short yet either. I still got to play.
The
I'm
US
still
to
trying to
sell
put these
13
things in.
billion
Hold on.
in 20-year month bond.
And then
on
we'll go
December
back to ES here.
17th,
Hopefully
settle
ES
on
will wait for
December
me.
31st.
26. Stupid Zelensky.
Just to reiterate, US to sell 13 billion in 20-year bond on December 17th
is
and settle on December 31st.
All right, those shorts are working. Still got the reversion trade working here, but again, there's heavy relative volume and now news chirps, so I got out half of those. All right, I'm working Izzy long here, double size in ES. I mean, I'm going to take double size, but I'm going to put on normal size and then wait for it to retest or play. Hopefully, it'll price change game, and I can show you guys that too, and I'm going to add to it. Other than that, I don't see any other longs here. It's not really. Well, yeah. Wait, this is what I was looking at before that news story. 69 is the. Yeah, this is a pick too, right? So the pick, you got to decide. And in this instance, I'm going to take it aggressively. So you got to decide another subjective thing. There's the top of that composite, right? Here's your buy ice right here. That's the pick trade. You got to decide whether you're going to wait for it to, on the volume event, ATR retest confirm or take it first move out. Well, we just looked at the chart. The chart looks extremely bullish. I'm not going to, it might not come back. So I'm going to take the pick trade and the Izzy trade. First move out of the zone and not wait for retest. And then if it does retest, I could take bark and lick longs too. And I'm going to take all those double sides because this looks very bullish. Looks, again, it's just my guess of what's going to happen. I let the volume event, is if it's in the direction of my guess, then I trade bigger. That's all I'm doing. We got Izzy and pick. These are the same trades that I won on earlier in being short in NASDAQ. And I missed them down at the lows too. We already talked about that. Did I miss a reversion trade here? Didn't quite get to that fill, so that's still in play too. And this thing's still jerking around. And I never got filled on my short yet either. I almost got filled on that Zelensky stuff, but did not. So that reversion's working and I have shorts working. What's going on in Mr. NASDAQ? Very quiet for NASDAQ. So there's nothing for me to do off of this event, right? I'd already tagged the ATR above and below. So I just wait for a new event. I got to keep looking at the Bookmap data though, because
Zelensky float after Zelensky floats Donbass referendum.
The other computer, because its rhythmic is not as reliable in my opinion. Let's see here. So while I'm on this, you know, there used to be one game in town. It used to be in the Monopoly Rhythmic, right? Now Bookmap offers the data. I think it's more reliable. It's from what I've seen. I still use Rhythmic because I'm trading through these trading firms too. I mean, a trading firm and my live accounts. So I use Rhythmic for those. It's through the broker. I don't think you can even get Bookmap data for the broker, but you can use it to power your. I could be wrong there. Check, but they've got their ridiculous sale going on now. So let's just cover this real quick. So just the Bookmap stuff alone for all of December. Guys, I would take advantage of this. I've never seen this in the 8 years I've been working with them, and you might never see it again. I'm not sure why they're doing it because they're growing exponentially, but they are. So you can do the Global Plus, which you want because it shows the sweeps and everything else, 50% off for 3 months and a quarterly, or I think 1 month, 60% off. I don't see that on here. Oh, here it is right here. If you do the month, I would just do the quarterly for 50 versus 60 for 1 month. And then all the add-ons are 50% off. That's including all my stuff. And I'm telling you, take advantage of this because I was actually kind of against giving all my stuff away for 50% because it, you know, it's stuff that is the best edge I've ever seen. So, but it is. Go to the Bookmap Marketplace. I'll put this in here. This is the direct. This is of all my courses. And I'll answer your question here in a second. No loss. All right. So there. So everyone's what which course should I take first? This is the main course. This is the indicator course. Goes over the 6 distinct setups. Then I look for these setups in important areas. Those are the trading strategies, or the reversion, right? So the reversion's like a scalp. That's this course. And then, so that's the main course with the talks about the SI events. I mean, in 2023, it's still relevant today, right? The reversion course is taking these trades back to the events like a scalp, right? And then the trading strategies, there's 18 of them in here now. I got to add a couple more. And as I add any of these courses for the rest of my life, you get an update in an email, and you'll get access. You'll see the update. This stuff is older. Doesn't mean it's not relevant. This was a course made by my prior partner, who was a scalper in the NQ. I don't trade his way, but it's still, I get great feedback on it. I left it up, right? If you want to trade his way, go ahead. This is half the price too. The sweep show, this was his too. It's more using the quotes counter. Again, these I don't use. This was my, it doesn't mean they don't work, or I wouldn't have them up here, right? I wouldn't have them if they weren't relevant. This was for stocks because when I first started trading, or got back in the game, I was going to trade stocks because I was so jaded from being a multimillionaire in futures and being knocked out of the game. So this is more for stocks. You can use it for futures too, but it was more for stocks. So anyway, all this stuff's half price, guys, and the data, like, take advantage of it. It's for the whole month. I've never seen them do that, and I don't think they will do it again, but I don't know. But my stuff's all on there if you want to, if you're thinking about getting the courses. That's the best way to do it, right? Because, yeah, you can watch these webinars. If this is the first time or second time, you're probably like, what in the hell is all this? What is he doing? This chart looks ridiculous. It does look ridiculous until you know what you're looking at. Then it's the most simplistic stuff that you can be looking at, right? You got the zone, you got the ATR, the entry, ATR, the entry that way. And then you have the reversion lines, and then you have GEX levels. That's all that's on here, right? It's very simplistic, but when you first look at it, it looks ridiculous, right? So I understand that, but it's really not that complicated when you start to watch it. I got to take a breath. Was this? What happened here? No. Okay. All right. So I'm waiting to go long here, and yes, if it gets up here. Izzy and pick aggressive, meaning first move out, and then if it goes ATR retest confirm, I can put those on. This still hasn't shown his hand. This may be a bearish event. If it turns bearish, well, then I can potentially take shorts. Let's see where we're at. That's my chart.
BTC disqualified.
Oh, by the way, this is, so that, speaking of being off, everything's fractal, right? So this is a daily chart, right? You can see it's all the same stuff. That was a balance. Tried to break out. It did hold that high volume node right now. And then you got this balance. So the next move for the bigger move, that's a balance. That's a balance. This is a daily chart. If that breaks, it's very, very likely going to get crushed. And you can see there's no structure here. This moves back above, which it's looking like it's going to do based on the hourly that we've talked about. We're right here, right in the middle of this guy. This breaks out, we're going to new highs. Most likely. It's a guess, but I'm using it based on structure that I've been watching for 25 years. But that's the daily chart, right? Really important. And then if this does break down, say this comes back, I can take, maybe you're going to use the daily chart. You can take breaking bad, current balance breakdown through the high volume node of prior balance. Those are some of the best trades in trading. And you could take failed balance breakout of that dude. It's a daily. So line in the sand is basically this zone, right? 68.31. We break that a little below there. I mean, you can even go here, 68.20-ish. That breaks, it's probably very, very likely going to get ugly. Now back to the hourly chart. I can find the damn thing. I just keep losing my charts. Now here's the hourly. It's all fractal, right? I've already talked about this. Held, balance, balance, balance. Tried to break down, tails, ripped yesterday. Came back through this guy, should have been killed, not killed. So this still looks very bullish right now. That's why I'm willing to take double size and longs. If this comes back, and again, things change. If this comes back, it's going very, very likely going to get smoked. So right now, I'm bullish this market. So regardless, this is not an IZZY. I will take an IZZY long, but I can't take an IZZY short. The IZZYs are fade moves into these events where you get the opposing events. So no IZZY short here. I could take a pick off of this iceberg, right? Short. I'm already working the long, but I could take a short because we're right here. I don't know what this is yet. We're right here. So if this gets back inside off this iceberg, I can go short. Remember I said subjective, whether you take it aggressively, meaning first move out of the zone or wait for the ATR retest. I will wait for ATR retest on the short pick because of what it looks like on the structure, right? So off of this event, so you see, like I let the volume tell me what to do. I don't impose my will on what I think is going to happen here. If this turns bearish, I will wait for ATR retest confirm and I will put on the pick short. If it turns bullish, well, we're in an IZZY zone. I'm going to take that aggressively, and I'll take the pick aggressively, meaning I'm not waiting for the retest. The short pick, I'm going to wait for the retest. This is just my subjectiveness, because it still looks bullish. If we moved lower and things change and I got a pick, I might take it aggressively, right? So that's the only thing that's really subjective when I'm doing. Everything else is pretty black and white. Pretty much black and white, I should say. All right. How do I use the hero in your trade? So I use the hero one with the flow alert, right? So we have a flow B. And actually, I couldn't have taken it off of this because it proved bearish earlier. But say we come down here. Actually, I could have taken this off of this. I would have never been stopped, I don't think, if this was at the same time. Let's look here. 7:53. Time to this fire off. Yeah, I could have done it. This is Eastern time. My chart's mountain, so it's 2 hours. So a flow B is when you get the flow alert. Remember we talked about this earlier? Usually the blue or purple line, that's the options flow. When you get the flow alert, many times when it levels off, when it turns around, then the market rips. So we have a strategy called flow B. That's right here, and that's where you jump in right smack dab in the middle of the zone. We got something on Russell coming in right here. Flow B. Take any trade after a spot gamma flow alert or the corresponding SI event triggers with buy ice or sell stops, meaning bullish. So the flow alert happened after this iceberg a little bit by a couple minutes, right? And you would have been taking it into the number too. So I probably wouldn't have taken this one, but I'm just giving you an example of one. Even so, you get the flow alert that happened like right there on that chart. You can just jump in. Here's your stop. Very, very small risk for a huge reward in this case, right? So that's the flow B, and then we have other auto entry trades. I could have taken the actually I could have taken the sexy Gexy here too. It was below that, but it was into that blind spot one. You could have just jumped in with that. I mean, look at that trade. So again, all you need is one of these to make up for if you lose like 3 of them, big deal. Risking right here for one of those. I didn't do either because I don't like instant big winners. But I really didn't do it because their number was coming out. I was getting on the webinar anyway, so I didn't even see the flow B. But that's how I use the hero. You can also use it for reversions. A lot of guys in my room have been doing this lately too. So say you got an event, right? Well, people get confused, but just say this is a stop iceberg event, right? And we're playing the reversion and the market's moving like this, and then you get the flow alert. Well, guys love to jump in and play it back because it's very likely going to do that, right? So you can use it that way too. As far as the notional, I'm still watching this stuff to kind of foresee, because every time this moves, Brent from Spot Gamma talks about it nonstop. When it moves $1 billion notional, it's very, very significant, and the market just moves huge. And the more billions it goes. Well, there's got to be a way to see just besides hero alerts flowing. Like I want to know, because sometimes it'll move $1 billion and do that. Sometimes it'll move 5. Well, there's got to be a way to see it in here. This is like a time of sales. This is the tape that we're still trying to figure out the best way. I still haven't got an answer for Spot Gamma, the best way to use it, because I don't think they have that answer. But there's got to be something in either the delta or the gamma that tells you it's going to be extended or it's just a blip, right? So there will be trading strategies for that. So again, if you have the course, once I add those in, you're going to get an email with the newest strategies. There's about 500 more strategies in the hopper. I wouldn't say 500, but probably at least 20 that are rolling around in my mind. That's my gift, right? My gift is fast processing, which I can't even really use anymore. I mean, I can by watching multiple markets. I use it as a scalper, but pattern recognition is one of my gifts. It's always been. So that's, I will find something in that hero and we will be taking advantage of it because it's the most important thing you can look at in futures trading these days. All right, still in this annoying reversion trade. Again, I got out because of the heavy relative volume, and this is a Linsky. I got out of half of them, so this isn't going to be much of a winner, but just to show you, right, the A plus. And I never filled on. This is why I moved my entry for my shorts below this event, so I didn't get whipsawed out of it into a prior event where traders are trapped, right? Any other questions? Add-ons are 50% or for just 1 month and back to regular. For some of their add-ons, I think, but my courses are lifetime, so no, the courses are 50% off forever. But yeah, so if you get the Scott zones, you'll get 50, the zone drawing tool, this guy here. And again, the pro is what gives you all the reversions lines, the entries, the exits, the position trading. If you get the basic, it's just it's giving you the event and the ATR line. The pro gives you all the reversions and everything else. Anyway, yeah, it's half off the first month and it goes back to normal. But the courses and stuff are all, obviously it's just a one-time purchase. So you're getting half off. Again, take advantage of it because you're not going to see that very often. I did do it for Black Friday. The reason I did it for Black Friday is because I knew they were doing it for December. So they kind of forced my hand on that one. It's guys, in trading terms, what I'm charging for those courses for my life's work is a mere pittance, right? It's like a few points on a couple big contracts of yes. It's like you got to look at things to justify your purchases or the stuff you use in your trading in trading terms, right? Like, I get all the time, oh, well, if I follow your methodology, I've got to get Bookmap, then I got to get the SI indicator and the MBO add-on. There's certain things you can skirt and not pay for, right? Kind of like the charting stuff. That's why I still use shitty TOS, pardon my language, think or swim. It's garbage most of the time. Like, don't even get me started with it, but it's free. So I'm willing to forego the nuisance it causes me. I keep saying I'm going to switch because it's free. I used to pay $800 a month for CQG charting. This is, back when I was on my trading firm. I had no idea. I thought that's just what you paid. Well, now that I know you don't have to pay for it, why would I pay for it? So there's certain things you can get away with not paying for, like the charting. There's certain things you can't. So if you want all the information, you've got to pay for this stuff. You got to pay for the SI. And again, in trading terms, it's $134 a month. Like, if you can't afford the $134 a month, I'm not making fun of you if you can't. You just shouldn't be trading, right? Just same with spot gamma. Like, yeah, it's expensive, but you want to know what the hell's going on in here. And then I have all these other ones too that I'm seeing more and more stuff. There's going to be trading strategies with this stuff too, like the USO. When this is negative, crude finds a very tough time rallying.
GC short retested.
All right, there's your reversion. I made a whopping $135 on it, but because I panicked out of half of them because there was heavy relative volumes, like I said, but Zelensky was talking and almost smoked me out of it. Anyway, A plus winner. And you could have taken the back in black if you wanted to, where it tags an important area. In this case, it was GEX 9 and take it coming back. Anyway, that's a winner. And I've never filled on the shorts. This comes back, I'll put on the shorts still, as long as it doesn't hit the ATR above. And there's no longs off of this particular event because it's already tagged the ATR below. Matt pinning your indicator is fire. Thanks. It's not really my indicator. I mean, first of all, a programmer from my room learned how to draw this stuff. All it is taking Bookmap developers. They've found a way to show the CMA enhanced data for the icebergs and stops. And now all my developer did is find a way to put it on the chart. So it's not really my indicator. I mean, it's my methods, but it's not. I'm not going to take credit for like the actual indicator. Bookmap is, that's why I use Bookmap, guys. If it wasn't for Bookmap, I would not be trading. I would literally be right now sitting in a doctor's office, waiting to go in his office and kiss his ass, trying to sell him something. So, because I got knocked out of the game. So if it wasn't for Bookmap, I would not be trading. Speaking of which, let me cover this stuff too. So Blue Jacket, they're still doing this. Post on Instagram, X, whatever the social media stuff. Just swipe or do your little scan on that and show your setups. You can either be doing something of mine. I would love if you tag me if you do my stuff, or using my Scott zones. That'd be great. That helps me. Or whatever you're seeing in your trading with Bookmap. And then if you win, then you win the hoodie, right? Or if you have a great post, I don't know how they're judging it, but Plus, it makes you a better trader anyway. When you're screenshotting your stuff, I tell my room this all the time, my trade room. You're screenshotting it and you keep doing it. Now it's just ingrained in your head, right? And you get better as a trader. This is the deal. I'm telling you guys, take advantage of this. I've never seen them do that. I don't know why they're doing that. This already went. This is the same thing. So this is for the 1 month, or you can get the 3 months for 50. I would take the 3 months for 50, obviously. And then they already did that. Pro Trader webinar. That was
Greece's
before.
Pyrakakis wins the vote for the Euro.
So that's that.
presidency.
Do the blue jacket, guys. You get free apparel just for doing something that's helping you as a trader. You know what I forgot about this, Russell? Let's see what I missed here. Just like I missed this ridiculous, awesome reversion in 2 seconds. This is just so annoying. Look at these back in blacks. This is what sets me off as a trader, right? I'm watching NASDAQ because it was going ape shit earlier. My grandpa Chooch's term. Reversion. Work. Look at this one. X4. 3, 2, 1.
Spot silver
Out of the
rises
zone.
93%
That's
to hit
they don't get any better than that. Completely missed that too. That was right when I was getting on the damn webinar. Got a new event here. You can do the same thing this way or this way, reversions, and then we'll see what we got here as far as structure. By the way, this is what a balance breakout looks like, or what it should do. Speaking of which, gold's trying again. Remember, I'm working shorts here. Never got filled. If this tags this ATR, then that's off. But if we get a new event, I can still take the breaking white trade. Anyway, this is what a market does or should do when it breaks out, if it's legit, right? So this is exactly what ES looks like today. We talked about this in my room yesterday too. I think it was yesterday. Market. Actually, this was this dude here. I mean, it never really broke out of this balance here, but it did get to that volume node, couldn't go. And then you had a failed balance break. This is all fractal, right? We just looked at a daily earlier. Failed balance breakdown of that. That was a little balanced into the Fed off the charts. And then you broke out of this too. So everything was looking like that was going to happen, and that's exactly what happened. What does that mean? That means if you get a bullish event, you're like, I'm taking double size longs now because I know everything that just transpired over the last week plus, and all of this activity in here, all these shorts, how are they feeling when it breaks out? Let me out. That's what we take advantage of. The SI events are just a mini version of that same philosophy, right? Because I don't care what indicators you're using, what lines on the chart you have. The most important thing you can look at is volume, which is actual transactions, and volatility. That is the driver of all markets. So I'm not saying whatever you're using isn't important. I'm saying if you used the volume and the volatility in those areas, then you have yourself a real edge. All right, I've been just chirping nonstop. Once again, no trade, pretty much. Any questions, please let me know. All right, speaking of which, what I was looking at to see if this was an area, we did have buy ice, but it was kind of like coming into it from the bottom, so it probably wasn't an IZZY. So this buy ice was 2574.8.
In 5 minutes' time, we're expecting the US 4-week bill auction. Prior high yield 3.68%.
All right, so this happened in this zone, right? So it's been sitting in here. This is a variation of the IZZY. It's been sitting in here. So IZZYs are meant to be, as it comes in, you get an opposing event, or if it comes in, you have an opposing event. I mean, technically, you could take an IZZY here, but this thing's been sitting in here all morning, right? So you could take an IZZY here, but that's not really what an IZZY is meant to be. So I'm not taking an IZZY. Let's see if we got anything else. Maybe we're breaking on a market profile composite or something. This was a slug earlier, looked like, that I missed, of course. Another missed trade. I think that's 5 today. 2575.4. How did this one work out? Actually, it was sell ice, so it wasn't a slug, but this did hold, and it's still holding right now. No market profile composite because I think these are all-time highs. I will merge these days though. So that was composite, day, all overlap, merge them all. And the more days you have, the more powerful it is. Come on. There you go. So nothing up here. So there's nothing for me to do on the long side. unless it turns into ATR retest confirm. Algo guy is bullish. So I would take that. And then we could take reversions potentially. So if this bounces off of this, which I already missed the one earlier that did it right here. Take the one back to the zone, out. Does it again. I'll do it now. And I think we all know what's going to happen. The one that I missed worked. I wonder what's going to happen on this one. So it's just in my head, right? Obviously, but I'll still take it. But it wouldn't surprise me if that's the one. This is what I mean about being consistent with your trading, right? If you're picking and choosing, it's not an edge. It's random, right? I didn't pick and choose that one. I just didn't see it. And now I'm going to put this one on. So what does that mean? What if that loses? Well, I would have net been basically break even. Instead, I'm going to take the loser because I didn't put the winner on. That's what I mean. It's like if you're going to focus on a strategy, you got to put it on every time you see it, regardless of what you think is going to happen. That's the hardest part about trading because guys want it. And the longer you've been trading, the more you think something's going to happen. And it's a detriment. I'm telling you, firms like these SMBs and stuff, they love hiring guys that are straight out of college, athletic, played athletics, straight out of college, never traded. Why? Because the more you've traded, the more jaded you are, the more you think you know what's going to happen, and it hurts you, right? Versus saying, I mean, how many times on this webinar alone have you heard me say, I think this looks very bullish, but I'm going to take the short because the volume's telling me it is painful, but it's because, I don't want to trade against something I think, but I don't know. You don't know. What I do know is the edge on the volume events, and so I put the trade on, right? That's all. That's what trading is. That's why it's so hard, because you got to go against, human nature. Things that apply in the real world don't apply to trading. And it's no holds bar. Like there's nothing, like when you go out and you drive, like stop signs and stoplights, you can't just, fly through stuff or you'll get killed. That you got to follow rules. And here the rules are all in your head, right? So you can find ways. I mean, it's just limitless opportunity and things that can blow you out. This is all in Trading in the Zone, by the way. Read it. It's a great book. I might pull out the rant here. We only have a couple minutes left, so you guys are going to be spared from the Trading in the Zone rant today. All right, you got any questions? Put them in. I'm going to be on there a couple more minutes, and I got the other educator coming in. So nothing in NASDAQ since we've been on since this. There's nothing to do off of this. The reversion did work. I didn't take that because the algo got crossed.
Surely expecting the 4-week billing.
I will take this reversion in Russell.
Top sell RT, 320.
Well, now there's a new event, but you can do it. It's in the same area too. Stop run, but I can still take reversions. Again, this looks very bullish up here. I mean, it doesn't look very bullish overall. It does, and especially that's a bigger. Remember, we talked about everything being fractal. Any moves back into this stuff are going to be very good longs. And if for some reason this fails, then watch out. But that's going to be very hard, especially think about all the longer term traders in here. They're not feeling real good. I don't have any strong opinions right here. You could take fail balance. Well, this is today's balance. I would use all these tails as today's balance, but say it goes like this. You could still take fail, shorts on that. I wouldn't trade double size on it, but again, it's just taking what the market's giving you. Anyway, this is a stop run, but it's just sitting in this Izzy zone, so I'm not taking an Izzy. And the S has just never got out of the zone since we've been on, right? Remember, I'm still working trades here. I got the Izzy long, the pick long. We've already talked about that first move out. Then if it goes like that, I can take Bark lick longs. If this fails, AK hits the ATR, then I'm going to take pick shorts, but I want to see ATR retest confirmed just because of the bullish look as of right now. Again, right now. Something comes out and they say there's going to be no truce to the war. This market's going to go like that. How do you know that's going to happen? You don't. That's why you have to adjust on, with if-then scenarios. Right now, this looks very bullish, so I'm willing to take longs double size. If this retraces and takes out this, then I'm changing my tune, right? It's if-then scenarios, and everything I do is driven by the SI stuff as far as my trades. And then I still have these gold shorts working. All this did the retest. We caught this guy, right? The shorts are still working. As long as it doesn't hit the ATR above, I'm still taking shorts off this. We already went over all these trades. All right, guys, this is, this is what you need in your trading if you're not doing well. And even if you're doing well, you're going to do 1,000 times better if you understand this stuff and what is the main driver. If you want to listen to my 25 years of experience, what the main driver of these markets are, which I highly recommend you do. I do this every day for my trade room. Come learn. After that, every Thursday for Bookmap. Courses, I'm telling you, take advantage of those courses. 50% off, and take advantage of the Bookmap stuff, guys. That is an unbelievable deal for the strongest edge in the history of futures trading, in my opinion. All right. Have a great weekend. I will see you guys next